Okay, so we're going to be talking about the effect of harmful algal blooms on human health today. Okay, so first, before we get started, what is algae? Most of you probably know already, but there's macroalgae, which is considered seaweed, and then microalgae. This is more like a phytoplankton. And algae is really a remarkable organism when you think about it. And we're in many ways very dependent on it. Algae is thought to produce about 50 to 70% of the Earth's oxygen. So we need algae. On the other hand, at times the growth of algae can be too rapid and cause harm to the environment and to humans. Scientists have coined a term for this. It's called harmful algal blooms. And so basically what happens is algae and its symbiotic cyanobacteria kind of boom and produce either the toxic substances and also washing up on shore, creating harm for all the tons of things, the fish, mammals, people, you name it. Interestingly, we often think about algae and harmful algal blooms occurring in the ocean, but they can occur in lakes and also in brackish water, which is basically when salt and fresh water mix in sort of a stagnant setting. This often happens after hurricanes, so that's something that can happen in Florida often. And unfortunately, scientists have been noticing an increase in the frequency and intensity of these blooms, and this is thought to be largely due to humans' impact on the planet and global warming.
So why Sophie and I care and why we think this topic matters on a planetary health level is that these blooms can produce dangerous toxins that can sicken people and animals. The CDC does have a monitoring system and they collect data. So we were able to find some from 2019. So 14 states voluntarily reported 242 harmful algal blooms in 2019, and that was just in 14 states in the U.S., and this is something that affects globally. And out of these states, there were 63 human cases of illness and 367 animal cases of illness. There were no human deaths, but there were multiple animal deaths. So that makes you think, how does that affect the ecosystem, that biome that they're living in, and the food chain? Also, these algal blooms, they use up a lot of oxygen. So when they overbloom, they create these called dead zones in the water, which is basically a hypoxic event for the planet. So that will cause a lot of marine death in that area, decay, and then that will further feed the bloom as the nitrogen and the ammonia from these decaying animals start rising to the surface. It also, for the first world, it'll raise the treatment cost of water, but in countries that don't have a lot of filtering systems, this is going to pollute their water, and these toxins and these increased nitrogenous elements is going to become part of their daily living, which can affect the health of that population. And then some of them release harmful gases like sulfur and methane. So that's also something that we breathe, but then it also will add to the overall atmospheric content. And just to show, 53 of the events had toxins. So half of those algal blooms release toxins that affected human and animal health. And then I put a little arrow to Florida that's not in blue, which is ironic in a state that has a blue algae task force, because we have so many algal blooms, but we're not reporting data